Welcome back. Welcome back to the Perks Recap Podcast, Baseball Edition, Yankees Edition. Another series is over, so here we are. I've got a lot to say in this one, so I tried to keep these short. Last one was only about 7 minutes long. The first one was like 10 minutes long. This might go a little longer. I apologize if that's the case. But anyway, the Yankees have their first three-game losing streak of the year, and the combination of losing the last game to Pittsburgh and then losing the first two to Detroit. They salvaged the series with a win on Wednesday, 4-3. All the games got moved to earlier in the day because it is so cold in Detroit. I don't know, it was cold for both teams, so I don't know if it had much of an impact in terms of the outcome of the games. But it was definitely cold, regardless. The first game, the Yankees ran into a young kid, Casey Mize, who has a new pitch and might be a little bit on the rise if you're a fantasy player, and Casey Mize might be available to you. I don't know if he will for sure after this outing, but if he is, I would say pick him up because I think he's going to have a solid year. I think he might have found something here, and he looked great. He just mowed the Yankees down. We really couldn't do much against him. But the real problem with this game is Carlos Rodon. Carlos Rodon, he just can't be counted on in a big spot. Not that this was a big spot, but he can't be counted on, period, to begin with. Like, he's wildly inconsistent. He'll throw a gem, and then he'll throw a game like this. And you never know what you're going to get. He's not consistently great or consistently bad, to be fair. He's kind of wishy-washy. He's an okay starting pitcher in the majors. He should be there. He's making too much money. He's grossly overpaid. But what he was supposed to be this year as their number 3, I think he's just really good number 3. Now he's a number 2, of course, as we know. And maybe when Schmidt comes back or Heel comes back, he'll go back to being a number 3. But we'll see how that goes. But he just can't be counted on. The thing about Carlos Rodon is he could be going fine, everything's good, and then one thing goes wrong, and then he completely unravels. That's it. The one thing goes wrong, and then he gets all in his head. He has no temperament for dealing with with problems on the mound. Like, problems arise, and he can't deal with it. So that's a problem. The Yankees pitching problems with their starting pitching injuries, 3 of their 5 starters are out, is coming back to haunt them. And it only took 1 turn through the rotation, 1.5 turns, whatever it is, to show what the problem is here. We can't count on Rodon consistently. You can't count on Stroman. You can't count on Will Warren, it seems. And Cookie Carrasco, he took the ball in the second game. Carlos Carrasco, he needs to be off this team. I would much rather just put Will Warren back in there or whoever. Honestly, a bullpen day, anything. You got to get him out of there. He's cooked. He's toast. He's done and should not be out on the mound for anybody, never mind the Yankees. So he's got to go. And I think he will go. If he gets another start here, I'll be surprised. But we'll see. As of right now, he's still on this team. So we'll have to see. But, he's totally done. Completely cooked. And the Yankees get shut out 5-0. And the bats would go completely silent. And then we've got today, or Wednesday's game. They win the game 4-3. They were up 4-0, and Devin Williams walks the bases loaded and gives up 3 runs and has to be pulled from the game for, I believe it was Jack Leiter Jr., who came in and got the last out for the save. So I said this before, and I'll say it again. It's still too early to for like the mass hysteria, and I hear it all the time now, and it's going to be stronger after today for sure, after Wednesday, because he struggled again. But he was going on the paternity leave. This is like his third game of the year. You got to give him, maybe his fourth, but you got to give him some time. I mean, I think he's got the track record and, of course, the contract that they're going to give him every opportunity to, figure this out and get going. I don't care if he blows every save or, does that like we did today all month. He could go. He's got at least until the middle of May before they pull the plug on him, in my opinion, in terms of being the closer. We'll see how bad it gets, and maybe they do make a change, but now's not the time. I still believe in the guy, and I still believe in the track record. He's been one of the best, if not the best, closer in baseball the last like 3-4 years. So, come on. Little troubles here. I understand. Don't like to see it. Hasn't been good. Another tip for your fantasy players: trade for Darren Williams or Devin Devin Williams. Trade for Devin Williams. I think he'll get it figured out. I'm not that concerned about it, but as these things continue and he struggles some more, I might change my mind. As of now, I'm not. But the pitching staff is a huge, huge problem. The fact that Carrasco is even in there is abysmal. I would rather have Warren. I don't know if Warren's still in there or not, but that would be 6 starters. So I don't think Warren's getting any starts right now. They've chosen Carrasco over him, but you gotta rethink that, I think. And of course, the bullpen has been pretty good, other than Devin Williams. So, Weaver's been amazing. He pitched again today, was great. He would be the closer if Williams can't figure it out, but again, I think he's going to get every chance to. And even if he does get removed for a little while, I would fully expect him to get the closer role back at some point. So that's that. Those are the 3 games. They lose 2, they win 1. The one they won today, now to the hitting. Everybody you had a problem with, you had questions about, or I did anyway, is starting to struggle now. The hitting has been great this year so far, but coming into the year, you had questions about Rice. You had questions about Wells, Volpe, Cabrera, Dominguez. I had questions about Goldschmidt, but you can't complain about what he's done so far, although I fully expect that it's not going to continue. But can't knock the guy right now because he's playing really well and hitting really well. But Bellinger, I didn't have questions about really. I thought he'd be okay. He's really struggled here. He's in quite the slump, and then he got sick too. But I'm not as concerned about Bellinger. I kind of know what he is. But these other guys, they went a combined 1 for 21. Those guys I listed, the Cabreras and Volpe and Wells and Dominguez, 1 for 21. And the one was a home run by Ben Rice, who even though his average is starting to sink, I do love what I'm seeing from Rice. The added muscle he put on, he is ripping the ball when he gets a hold of one. I think he can be a big-time home run contributor this year. I really do think he can really take off in the home run department. It might be like an all-or-nothing power kind of guy, almost like Stanton. We'll have to see. I hope not, but that might be what we're left with him. But all the concerns I had about this being like 2023, when it was Judge and a bunch of 230 hitters, and it's kind of like that. Goldschmidt could definitely, go down to that range. Wouldn't surprise me one bit, but like I said, I can't complain about him so far. Jazz is in that area right now, but although he is historically also like a 250, 260 hitter, but that's not all that great to begin with, and he's not immune to maybe having a down 230 kind of a year. All we've seen from Volpe is 230 years or lower. Cabrera, same thing. Wells is really struggling. I thought he started out pretty well, and now all of a sudden he can't buy a hit. I think he's batting under 200. And Dominguez, same thing. He was up over 300 just a few days ago, and now in this series he was down to like 250. Obviously, it's early in the year, so you go 0 for 8 or whatever, have 2 0 for days, and you're going to go down a bunch of points. But he's starting to sink in the batting average department, and there's a concern, at least on my end, that they're overestimating these guys, and we're going to have a horrible offensive year to go along with our horrible pitching, and it's just going to be everything will depend on Aaron Judge. Hopefully you can get something from Jazz Chisholm, something from Cody Bellinger, and maybe Ben Rice can provide some power, and hopefully that'll be enough. But 2023, the problem wasn't really the top of the line too much. It was like, 5 through 9 were all 230 hitters, and we could be in for that. 5 through 9, all 230 hitters. That is a distinct, definite possibility. And that's my fear for that. Because we don't have the pitching to recover from that anymore. We did, but now we don't. It looks like Clark Schmidt will be the first one back, and it looks like he's coming back relatively soon. So at the very least, Carrasco should be out of there when Schmidt comes back, even if he gets another start. I think Schmidt will take his place. And then when Heel comes back, although Heel's much farther away, Heel's like in June or something. But whenever Heel comes back, he'll probably take the place of Stroman. Get them out of here. You can't do the job, you got to go. And Carrasco can't do the job. Stroman is usually a little better than he's been, but their team ERA is like something like 5. Carlos Rodon's ERA is over 5. Can't have it. Max Fried today pitched like an ace. He stepped up in a spot where the Yankees needed a win, otherwise it was going to be 4 losses in a row going into the day off and getting swept. He pitched over 7 innings, and pitched great. Absolutely loved it. He really, really stepped up. A lot of strikeouts, over 10 strikeouts, or maybe exactly 10 strikeouts. And that's what we need from Max Fried. He's got to become like Garrett Cole and basically act as in our minds, what were you thinking for expectations if the Yankees had Cole but had never signed Max Fried? Whatever those expectations would be, those should be the expectations now. With Fried playing the role of Cole, that would be awesome. So those are my thoughts. Those are my concerns. They have a day off on Thursday, and then they got the weekend series coming up. I will, of course, be back when that one is done, give you my thoughts once again. And I'm glad they avoided the sweep, but there are major, major concerns. This pitching staff is catching up to them. The loss of 3 of their 5 starters is catching up to them, and it took like 2.5 rotations through 2.5 turns through the rotation for everybody for this to bear its ugly head and become a real problem. And I don't know how they address it. I don't know how they can address it internally, really. I don't see any answers. They've got to address it externally. They've got to make a move, I think. And they better not wait until the All-Star break. I don't understand why people treat the All-Star break like that's when you make all your trades. What's stopping you from making a trade right now? Sandy Alcantara, or Alcantara, however you want to say his name, in Florida, Miami. He's right. He's there. He's available. It looks like pretty obvious that Miami's going to trade him. Make a play for him now. I hope they have. Maybe they don't want to move him yet. Maybe they want to wait and wait to move him until the All-Star break. But hopefully they've at least inquired. You've got to try to do something right now. Plus, Alcantara is under team control for another year, another 2 years, I think. Definitely for 2026. And if Cole comes back in 2026, you'd have a rotation of Cole, Alcantara, Freed as your top three. Are you kidding me? Wow, that would be amazing. Carlos Rodon would be a 4. I think he's in solid number 3. He'd be the 4. That'd be great. That's what I would be looking forward to for 2026. But they got to get this guy. They need him for 2025. Okay, a little longer than the last few, but I had a lot to get off my chest, a lot to talk about. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And until next time, I will see you later.